There is a problem with talking to life from other planets. We can call it the compatibility problem. That even if they are out there, even if we know where they are, we may not even be capable of speaking to them, thinking in at all compatible ways. See, it's not like talking to a human who speaks another language, where we all share the same evolutionary principles and can point to this and go, it's a book, and they go, no, it's something else. Sometimes, the aliens might be so different, so strange, that we can't even figure out how to talk to them at all. We might not even recognize them as intelligent or they us. My favorite book of the last 20 years is this one right here, Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and it explores this problem in a fascinating way. Humanity is spreading out into the stars, but not with spaceships or colonies, but with science. They do it in a way I've never seen before. An ambitious, arrogant scientist called Dr. Avrana Kern wants to terraform a planet, seed it with monkeys, and then give them a nanovirus which will accelerate the monkey's evolution and allow her to become a god over her own creations.
This is the future,
she says.
This is where mankind takes its next great step. This is where we become gods.
Only it all goes wrong, because of course it does. The monkeys never make it to the planet, and the virus doesn't infect them. No. Instead, it infects spiders. But why, of all creatures, spiders? Why are spiders so good at exploring the compatibility problem? Well, I asked the author himself.
You know, insects are genuinely a very strange form of life from a human perspective, because we went our separate ways evolutionarily a long time ago. There's, even down to the sort of, how basic functions like eating work, everything is solving the same problem through very, very different kind of mechanical solutions. My starting point is very much, what do we know about the cognition of these creatures?
Children of Time chronicles the rise and evolution of a spider society over thousands of years, from developing consciousness to their agriculture to war to technology to religion, to show the consequences of how deeply they might view the world. In one horrifying scene that will stick with me forever, a human is captured by the intelligent spiders and studied. The human begs for food and water. Time and again it tries to talk to them until one day they simply die. In her last years in that dark pit, she learns to motion with her fingers like a spider's palps to ask for water, like a dog might learn to beg. See, spiders can't hear, and never even considered that hearing was a possibility. It hadn't even occurred to them to engage with life and the world this way. They can, however, sense vibrations, and they use them to communicate with each other, with patterns by plucking their webs at a distance and stamping the ground with their extra limbs. But no matter how much they listened to this strange creature to them, listened in their own way, no matter how much they tried, the human was simply speaking gibberish. It wasn't learning, while all the human saw was the dark, void-like eyes of their captors, looking on and ignoring every desperate plea for help.
Obviously, when you're dealing with something that's kind of on a human scale and has senses we don't get, and what is outside a dog's immediate cognition, given that dogs are very focused on senses other than sight, so hearing and smell and so forth, it's actually the human sensorium and the human view of the world is very limited compared to a lot of animals.
Humanity can only see a tiny bandwidth within the possible light spectrum, only detect sounds within a short range of frequencies. We smell far less compared to other animals, while other creatures can sense magnetic or electrical fields. And this is to say nothing of the senses that alien life might have evolved in their own environments in communicating that we cannot even comprehend, just like the spiders could not comprehend hearing. Because the horrifying truth of the compatibility problem is this. There is a possibility that we have been receiving communications from across the universe, but simply haven't been able to register it. Or that our communications have reached inhabited planets, but they've dismissed it as simply nonsense. That we might not be the only life in the universe, but we might be blind to it. The compatibility problem has popped up in science fiction before, in Orson Scott Card's Speak of the Dead, in Ted Chiang's Stories of Your Life, which is about aliens who communicate and think outside of time as we know it. It was adapted into the fantastic film Arrival. Also, a friend of mine and I have an argument over whether Arrival or Interstellar is a better sci-fi film. Please let me know in the comments who is right and why. But Children of Time takes all of this a step further with something else. Because it explores the rise and evolution of a spider civilization over millennia, it lets us see how deeply this sensory divide and how they view and interact and feel the world, how deep that goes. How differently they would interpret life and intelligence and morality and communication. We see how their society is built on the mass culling of male spiders, how spiders would develop biological technology with, I'm not even kidding, supercomputers that use ants as their electrons. I cannot even explain how cool that section of the book is. They domesticate beetles for agriculture and condition and domesticate other life forms on their planet in ways that we wouldn't. We see how the spiders think in 3 dimensions in ways that humans just can't. The humans in the story look for signs of intelligence, of civilization when they come to this planet, but only look for ones that fit within their definition of it, a very narrow definition. A definition that makes identifying alien life virtually impossible, playing into that compatibility problem. Even how spiders solve and look at problems is distinct from humanity, but all of this is written in a way to be understandable, in a way that few writers manage. Not familiar, but clear. But using spiders does something else as well.
When you're writing a book about spiders, for example, which are the things that in all the world people, certainly Western culture, absolutely loathe more than anything. I mean, go onto social media and talk about spiders, and sooner or later someone will talk about burning the house down. Something which I find less and less funny as I go on. Empathy for the other. If you can get at people feeling empathy for spiders, then that's kind of the ultimate empathy challenge.
This is my message to you. If you hate spiders, read this book. Because Tchaikovsky does something really clever. See, spiders aren't just some of the most alien creatures we have on this planet, but also some of the most hated and reviled. And he uses that to place the reader on the same arc as the human characters we have in the story. See, the rise of the spider civilization is paralleled by the decay of the last remnants of human civilization, who were aboard the generation ship, the Gilgamesh, searching for a new home. When the humans encounter the giant spiders, they feel what most would: repulsion. Horror and fear, because these creatures are way outside our definition of intelligence and of human and of people. There is this strange poetry and irony where you get frustrated with the human characters in this story as they fall back into primitive, superstitious, cultish ways and forget what civilization was or means, while the Chad spiders are ascending and building and curious and enlightened, and in a weird way they feel more human than some of the human characters in the story, while still being really alien. One of the really fascinating things this book does is articulate the beauty of spiders. One of the first and kind of most primitive reasons that we don't like them is that we don't like the crawly sensation they give us. They feel off in a way that is just very instinctual. But the more time you spend with the spiders, the more you begin to see their movements as natural, as beautiful, getting rid of that kind of knee-jerk reaction that we have, that all of these prejudices are kind of built on, you know? A lot of empathy is about overcoming those knee-jerk reactions we have to things, and this book does that so fantastically when it comes to insects. It makes you empathize with them more, and that's kind of the point. Tchaikovsky's story is built not just to break down the preconceptions we have of spiders, but to deconstruct the irrational circles that we have drawn around what it means to be a person, the lines we have created between us and them. Because there is a second problem with encountering alien civilizations. What has happened every single time human civilizations have met one another, especially when there is a huge technological imbalance between them? Some people have termed this the Native American problem. We view them as different, as other, as lesser, as inhuman, as exploitable, as murderable. Again, simply because we have drawn a circle around what counts as a person. This is why so much of Children of Time features characters who change from what is conventionally regarded as human, who upload their minds to computers, who age across generations and see whole lives of others flash before their eyes and wonder what that makes them anymore, whose personalities become fractured into a million pieces, who start believing themselves to be gods only to be humbled. If we meet other life out there in the universe, the struggle isn't just communicating with them, but seeing them as people equal to us, as equally worthy of respect because of these superficial circles we've drawn around what counts as a person. And a spider pushes that boundary for most people about as far as it can go. And by the end of the story, well, I'm not going to spoil it for you, because you're going to read this, Matthew. But I suppose you've been wondering something. Is this an ad? Yes. I'm not getting paid for it, but it is an ad because I want you to read this book. I am advertising this book for you. Only $9.99 paid to your overlord at Amazon, which you can read it right now. And you can read the sequel, which is about octopuses. And I swear, if a single one of you try to correct me and say octopi, I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to replace your arms with tentacles. I have to leave that in now, don't I? And what's even better is the third book has just come out, Children of Memory. I love this series, I want you to love it too, I want to be able to share my love for these books with people, but no one else in my life has read it. I did a full interview with Adrian Tchaikovsky where we talk about his writing, his world building, the other series that he's written, and why he is frustrated with Star Wars at the moment. And you can go watch that over on the second channel. I've got a link to that probably in the description, up in the corner. It's on To the Future, that is the second channel. I have really enjoyed doing this little video. If you want more content like this, let me know down below. Stay nerdy, and I'll see you in the future.